What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Producer's Desk, and we are excited this week because we are celebrating International Women's Month by highlighting and celebrating a few of the women who have sparked moments in our careers. So make sure you stay tuned because a couple of these women you may know.
Welcome to the Producer's Desk, where music, business, and culture and life intersect. My name is Jamison Ross, Grammy Award-winning artist, songwriter, producer, drummer, husband, father, brother, son. I'm all that, y'all.
And what's up, everybody? I'm David S., his manager, music exec, show exec, producer, all of the good things. And so we are here today to celebrate some women who have really made an impact in our lives. And like I said in the intro, sparked moments. And we're going to give out some Life Impact Awards today to these women. So let's jump right into the episode, Jamison. You know, I think everything starts for us when we were rather young, right? I know for me, I kind of started in this music thing before I could even talk barely.
The first woman that comes to mind for me is my middle school band director, Carole McQueen. Growing up in Jacksonville, Florida, I went to Landon Middle School of the Arts, and then I went to La Villa Middle School of the Arts, which is basically, it was a brand new school at the time. The school, first day we walked in, I mean, literally like the school had never been, used at all. It was like a brand new building. It was actually a big thing on the news too. Oh, downtown Jacksonville, new art school for middle school, Anyway, I get to school. And I didn't know how to read music. I did not know how to read music, and Carole McQueen put a trumpet in my hand and said, "You're going to be in technique class, and you're going to learn how to play trumpet." It's going to, I had to learn how to read music. She put me in the bottom of the barrel. So here I am.
So wait, because you are this like drum phenom.
Bruh, at least, I don't know about phenom, but let's just say I was pretty talented at a young age. I came from a musical family, and just like any other, black kid in the South who grew up as a PK with musical people all around, I was very, very gifted at music. It was pretty clear. But Carole McQueen, she wasn't saying that. She was like, okay, you don't know how to read? Here you go. Take this trumpet and get in technique class. And so I remember literally watching friends of mine who knew I can play music would be in the jazz ensembles while I was in technique class playing hot cross buns. And I'm going to tell y'all, it got so bad, she even gave me a referral for playing drums on the drum set after school. She wrote me on a referral because I wasn't supposed to be on the drums,
So explain to the people what a referral is.
A referral is you getting written up, when you're in school and the teacher writes you up. It's kind of a big deal,
Okay.
So I got a referral. She sent me to the office, the whole nine. The year goes by. The next year, I get in 7th grade. I'm still in technique class, still playing the trumpet, right? Here I am, this kid that's oozing music, right? And she has me in a technique trumpet class learning how to read music. My 7th grade year, I never forget it. One day, midway through the year, I'm reading music. I had become what I call settled and a leader within my class, within my technique class, amongst percussionists, amongst musicians. And she moved me out and put me in the top ensembles mid-year, changed my schedule, put me in the top ensembles like this. It happened so fast, and I think that was a lesson that she taught me, like, hey, talent alone won't do it. You know what I mean? Like, talent alone won't do it. And so for me, ever since that day, I think she always knew I was talented, but it was almost like teaching me a lesson. You know what I mean? Like teaching me, like, hey, you need to learn how to take this craft seriously. And literally to this day, she gets my Impact Award because without her, I wouldn't be the musician I am today.
Oh, that's so dope, because what's interesting is that my story is not too dissimilar from yours, except that I was not afforded the opportunity to go to an art school, but I grew up in church, playing drums, playing organ. And so by the time I got to high school, I went to Bogan High School on the south side of Chicago. And when I got there wasn't a lot of options around music. So there was this band, some type of band. It wasn't even a marching band. It was just like a band class
Yeah.
And then I remember being in the lunchroom early on with one of my friends, and she was like, "I'll see you later. I'm going to choir practice." And I was like, "Choir? Oh, I didn't know there was a choir here. Like, I'm down with that, like." So when she said that, I'm thinking, gospel choir, let's go do it. I can play, I can sing, man. So I was like, I'm coming with you. She's like, yeah, you should. So we go to the auditorium, and we are behind the stage. They had this beautiful grand piano, and standing at the piano is the woman who gets my Life Impact Award, Miss Stephanie Dixon. And she was a petite, black woman, very well put together, very well spoken. But the choir was not a gospel choir. It was a madrigal chorus.
Yeah.
So we are singing SATB, SSAATTB, like we are singing, so she puts this sheet music in my hand, and she's like, follow along. Yeah. And once, we got to know each other, and she realized how talented I was, the same way as Miss McQueen for you, she really took the time to manifest the potential. And I think that's what's so important, is that with talent is never enough. It's like just being talented is just not enough in most cases, and to have people recognize that is amazing. And she, from her, I learned so much, singing in different languages, and she would take us all over the city to competitions, and we had this level of pride, and we would sing in tuxedos. So the women had these long skirts, but we would go to the tuxedo shop and get the shirts and the ties and the vests, and so the guys would be in tuxedos and the ladies would be in their little get up. And man, we would be singing. You hear me?
David, I'm sorry. This is my first time ever hearing you say you sing in other languages. Like you were singing Italian and
El
what?
Grillo. Yeah, we used to sing this song called El Grillo.
Say it again.
Called El Grillo. It's
Say
called
it
the cricket.
Well,
Bro, we was in it. Like in it. And I learned all of that from her, and how to sight read. We did some gospel stuff too. And when I was learning how to play, Total Praise is one of the first songs I learned how to play on keys.
One of the greatest gospel songs ever written, legit.
Of all time. To me, it's number one. It's number one on my list. Yeah. But once she taught it to us, like, she would let me play it and some, performances. And so it was, she just meant so much to me, giving me that foundation. And so to Miss Stephanie Dixon, unfortunately, she passed away a few years ago, but she still gets my Lifetime Impact Award. Yep.
You know what, David? The funny part is, as you talk about Stephanie Dixon, and you talk about that time of being very impressionable, middle school, high school, like you need someone that can give you some real, what I call, structure, but also invest some time and some love into what you're doing. And I think that's something about Carole McQueen, Stephanie Dixon, these people who kind of shaped us early.
Yes.
They gave us what I call our convictions about preparation, about, our habits, like about, just like our integrity about what we love. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that's why
it's so important.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. Yeah.
So important.
I mean, so let's talk about this then. So like, if we talk about that part, right? We talk about like our upbringing. Let's get into like the midway point of our careers or our life, shall we say. And let's talk about, influence, or shall we say another level of impact from the midpoint of our life and career. Who would you say has inspired you or gets your impact award?
So I have a really interesting story. If you don't know me, not only do I work in music, but I also work in entertainment, from the live show production, TV, film production, music videos. I do a lot of different things, but I'm a trained actor as well. Like, people don't know I'm a SAG-AFTRA card-carrying actor. But I got into all of that through one person. And that person is Sherri Shepherd, believe it or not. So when I was in New York, I had this consulting gig And I was traveling like 1 week on, 1 week off. So in those weeks off, I really didn't have much to do. I was making a lot of money. So I had a friend who was friends with Sherri and Tammy Townsend. And at the time, they had just launched the Sherri Shepherd show. It was a half-hour sitcom. They were filming live in New York. And I remember being at his house and we all sitting around eating wings and chilling. And we got invited to the show, to see it taped. Now, I had never been to a live taping before. So I go to the taping and I'm sitting there and I'm seeing all of the behind the scenes. Yeah. And let me tell you, I was enthralled. I was like, this is how they make TV? What? This is crazy, like...
Yeah.
What? They're doing takes, and I'm looking at all of the staff, and then they're changing lines and the lighting and, the background actors. And I was like, dang, I could do that. Like, they ain't even doing nothing. I could do that.
Yeah. And
that sparked this whole interest in TV and entertainment. And so fast forward, I moved to L.A., I study acting. And I start to work behind the scenes in entertainment as a background actor. Now, I always recommend if anybody wants to get into entertainment, background acting is probably one of the best ways to do so, because you get a master class at everything. All you have to do is pay attention to what's going on set, and you get paid for it. So
with that.
Yeah, so I worked on all the Law and Orders. I worked on so many shows doing background, How to Get Away with Murder, blah, 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 which then taught me how to produce. So, it taught me the cadence of what needs to happen, like how a scene needs to get set up, how things need to be written, what you have to think about before doing something. And it was all sparked from that moment at the Sherri Shepherd show. And there was a full circle moment a couple years ago at the Image Awards Creative Honors that Sherri hosted and I was executive producing, that really made things settle, because just 10 years prior, I had no concept of doing what I was doing at the moment. And you were there with me as the MD for the show, right? Yeah, it was a good time. We got to talk about that in a different episode. But I got the chance to share with Miss Shepherd as to what that moment did for me, and how I was just grateful that it happened. And although that show got canceled, there was a result and a purpose in it that went beyond just being on TV, and I know her talk show recently got canceled, but I think it's still a testament to, nothing God does is for a singular purpose.
Yeah, facts.
And you know what I'm saying? And so
I'm with you.
Even though that show got canceled too, like, there is still purpose to be revealed, and it may be revealed instantly or it may be revealed over the next 10 years. And so
I think there's a lot to talk about too, David, when it comes to what that show, when you were executive producing the show with Sherri Shepherd. I think that show represents a culmination of all of the things that you actually are genius at. Like, the visionary you are, I feel like your entire scope was at work. All of it. When it comes to music, when it comes to detail, lighting, you name it. Like, watching you navigate those rooms and the people and to capture a vision, to me, that is your superpower, when you are able to take vision like that and really get very detailed about it from each perspective. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, thank you, Ross, man. Come on, man. Thank you, brother.
We've been working together for a little while now.
We've been doing a variety of things, but I just want to give flowers to Sherri Shepherd for being that spark and agreeing to host the Creative Honors that year, because that was a crazy year as well. And we're gonna have to do a show on what goes on behind the scenes of an award show, because Most people have no clue what it takes to get award shows done. It's a lot, but shout out to Sherri and everything she's doing now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my mid career person. Jameson, I'll let you now kind of talk about your
Yeah.
mid career person.
No, this is I love this because I love the fact that we're talking about women.
Yeah.
I think that's something. It can be a good old boys club sometimes out here, and I think the important thing is this subject of it being International Women's Month is actually making me think about just how impactful women have been in my entire development. Carmen Lundy. Man, I'm 19 years old, and I'm in college at Florida State University, and I auditioned for the Betty Carter Jazz Ahead Symposium. It's like a 2-week thing you do at the Kennedy Center. And they bring a bunch of bright young minds together from all over the country, all over the world actually, to play music together. You have to write original compositions. It was very focused on original compositions because Betty Carter was all about original music, writing original compositions. That's a whole nother story for another day. But Carmen Lundy was one of the clinicians. She was there. You had David Baker. You had Dr. Billy Taylor. You had Curtis Fuller. I mean, these are like legends and pioneers in the jazz world. And so I go for 2 weeks. I'm playing music, and I see Carmen Lundy there, and she's literally like eyeing me the whole time. It was almost like she was already becoming my mom, like my musical mom, my musical grandmother almost, And so I'll never forget it, meeting her, because I kind of knew she asked me did I have a passport, and I didn't have a passport. And so I kind of had this feeling that she was going to ask me, to possibly, play music with her in the future. And so, David, I'm not going to lie to you. The next day, I went to Kinko's. That's how this. Remember Kinko's?
Ooh, that's back in the day. You aging yourself, Ross.
Bruh, let me tell you something. I'm on the Embassy Row, staying right there in D.C., and I go to Kinko's and print out probably about 250 business cards with my name, my email address, and my phone number. They were so cheap on the card stock, But I had a feeling that I needed to be prepared, like somebody's going to ask me for my card. Like I want to be able to like connect with people. Back then cards were a thing. I don't carry cards now, but I guess back then it was like a real thing with cards.
It was a thing, yeah.
It was a thing. Let me tell you something. I printed them 250 cards and cut them out in my hotel room. I was cutting those cards out.
You didn't even have them cut them? You cut them yourself?
Let me tell you, I literally cut them myself. I remember going down to the hotel desk and like cutting the cards.
Wow.
And let me tell you, the last day of Betty Carter Jazz Ahead, Carmen comes up to me and she says, "Hey, do you have a card?" Let me tell you.
Do I?
Do I? I tell this story when I first started touring. I started telling this story all the time because it was such a moment for me. Because guess what? It paid off. I gave that lady that card.
Yeah.
She called me the next week, asked me did I have a passport. I said no. I had to drive to Jacksonville, Florida, because I was in school in Tallahassee at the time. Go to my mama's house so that I can get my passport. Back then you had to walk. It was a whole
process.
Long story short, my first European tour. I mean, we start off in Kyiv, Simferopol, Ukraine, London. I mean, Germany. That Carmen Lundy took me all over the world before I was 21 years old, and the exposure that I got, man, at that age. Here I am at this very traditional jazz school in the South that's teaching the language and the traditions of jazz the right way. And then I meet Carmen Lundy, who's like, free yourself, like she's teaching me how to be on stage and not think about what the great ones would do, but be one of the great ones. She would teach me that, how to be one of the great ones, like how to get on stage and be present in the moment and allow my sound to be buoyant, my approach to music to project to where I wasn't just trying to replicate, but I was trying to innovate and exude and be a part of this lineage of music that was right before me, that I was literally making in real time. And so Carmen, for me, Life Impact Award goes to her when it comes to this midpoint of my life and career, because without her, I'm not sure where I would be in music, you know?
Yeah. And a fast fact, if people out here don't know, but one of your most popular songs is a Carmen Lundy original.
Yes,
These
it
Things
was.
You Are to Me.
These things, it's probably one of my most streamed songs, I would probably say. And
Yeah.
and to be honest, when I first started singing and playing the drums, a lot of the music I was singing and playing was her music, because that was my gig. That was my first opportunity to to tour the world and express myself with original music, because I was touring with Carmen Lundy. So a lot of my first thoughts and my creative ideas started on her bandstand, you know. She would cuss me out sometimes on stage, you know, because she felt like I wasn't present. You know, she could feel it.
Yeah.
She could feel it. She you're not here. You're not here with me, you know. And I'd be like, oh dang, I'm not. You know, I'm thinking about Jimmy Cobb or or Billy Higgins. You know, like I'm like, what are you thinking about? Make some music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
B. Jameson. You know what I mean? And so ever since then, my first album was called what?
Jameson.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so, and I have to say one more thing. I gotta say this, David. There's something that I learned being around Carmen. Oh my God. There was something that I recognized about being a woman in the music industry. Not just a woman, but a black woman in the music industry. Carmen from the South, I think she's from Madison, Florida, or something like that. Very similar to myself. I watched her deal with some of the disrespect and just the level of just the silent, passive aggressive energy that women sometimes face in this artistic world, you know? And so as we celebrate International Women's Month, man, like it is considerably more difficult as a woman, especially a black woman in the music industry.
Yeah.
It is more difficult, period.
Yeah.
Like, and I think we got to realize that sometimes when it comes to our good old boys club, you know, our artistry, you know, we all creating, we trying to connect. Yeah, man, women have it 10 times more difficult, you know? Just the journey, just the ability to want to innovate and create something new and fresh and have to express your ideas, you know, and have to like, you know, like just that struggle. I watched Carmen Lundy pave the way and deal with it with grace, but also with a level of like, you know, stern, you know, approach to knowing what she was, you know what I'm saying? She knew what she was talking about. She understood her harmony, her chord. She understood, listen, she would not play games. And I respected that. Gave me empathy. It gave me a certain kind of heart towards the plight of women in the music industry.
And you know, Jameson, that's why it's so important for us as men to do everything we can to uplift women and protect women, especially black women in this industry, you know? So
Huge.
shout out to Carmen. I'm fortunate enough because I also got a chance to develop my own relationship with Carmen through you. She's the reason I have this piano back here. So shout out to her. She
What's the piano name?
called me one day and she was like, the piano's name is Carmen actually. So yeah, I got it from her. So she called me one day, bro, and was like, hey, David, do you have a piano? You know, like that's how she talked. And I was like, oh, I got a keyboard, you know. She's like, okay. She's like, well, would you be interested in the piano? And I was like, hell yeah, I would be interested in the piano. And she said, I know somebody that may have one. You know, I'll get back to you. And so a couple months passed. I didn't hear from her. That was cool. You know, I didn't really think about it until I get a text message from her with photos of a piano. And I was like, wow, that's nice. But I couldn't tell what condition it was in or anything. But long story short, she knew somebody that had it. And the person wanted it to go to a good home where it would be used because it was just in storage. And the only thing I had to do was pay to get it moved. That's the only thing I had to do. And I did. I paid to get it moved. And then during COVID, I took on the project of refinishing it. But shout out to Carmen and Elizabeth as well, the head of Afrasia Productions, their label. What a
true
wonderful
Renaissance woman. Yeah, true
yeah,
Renaissance
for
woman.
real.
Yeah, for
Because
real.
Carmen, if y'all don't know Carmen Lundy, please go check out her music. You talking about original compositions? Check out her art. A multidisciplinary artist, from
Yeah.
sculpture to paintings to mixed media. I mean,
Yep.
just
Yep.
and she can cook.
Yeah, some ribs, yeah. She cooked me some collard
Okay.
greens. She cooked me some collard greens and ribs one time. I said, Carmen.
Yes, and she
I was
can
like,
cook.
it's, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about, man, bacon grease, okay? You hear me? I
Listen,
say, all
everybody.
right.
If y'all enjoying this podcast, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Shout out some women
Yeah.
in the comments who have been instrumental in your careers. Celebrate them now.
Yeah.
Don't wait, and stick around with us because we just got more and more stories. We here every Tuesday. So, Jameson, let's jump back in. There is a woman in the industry
Yeah.
who really a few years ago had a big impact on both of our careers. She is one of the queens of soul music, neo soul, R&B, well respected, one of the greatest songwriters and singers
Yeah.
and guitar players and all types of things. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how this woman impacted us?
Man. Listen, India.Arie can do no wrong. And so, long story short, I get a call one day. Charles Lamont Gardner, shout out, bro. Shout out, Charles
Shout out to
Lamont
the
Gardner.
bro. Yeah.
He was working with her at the time. I think he still works with her. He was touring and he called me one day and it was India.Arie on the phone. And India is like, hey, Jameson, how you doing? Like, and she literally starts going in about my first album, Jameson.
Wow. Yeah.
She starts going in. I'm talking about title to title, like talking about my one and only love, these things you are to me. Talking about like she has listened to the album, emotions. She's like, oh my god, the production, your voice, and I'm like, what? What? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I mean, literally, y'all, this was a huge moment because just being real, it feels good when someone likes what you're creating, and it was my first album. So a lot of times your first album, it's just instinct. It's like, this is what I like. This is what I feel. This is what I hear. Here you go. Right. And for India to say that and to actually listen to the record, right. To listen to the album and be able to talk and have a conversation with me about it. It made me feel great, So it kept going. Long story short, she called back and was like, hey, would you like to open on tour with me? And let me tell y'all, when that happened, okay, backdrop, okay? We had just lost an agent. We were in between agents at the time. When she asked me to tour with her, it was like, oh my God, what a perfect time. What a perfect audience for me. What a perfect environment for my music to be in. And literally every night, I felt like being in front of her audience just pulled on what was in me. It pulled on my artistry in a way that, honestly, I don't think I would be where I'm at today if I didn't have that chance, Just being able to be in front of that kind of audience that understood me and what I was trying to create musically,
Yeah.
And she pulled on me. She pulled on me big time. She celebrated me. She, like, made me comfortable. And to the point that where I surprised myself. Like, I was like, oh, shoot. Like, wait, I didn't even know this audience exists for me. Right?
Yeah.
I didn't even, here I am coming from a drummer who just played drums and then a guy who sings on his first album, grew up singing, but I decided to sing on my first album. And then India.Arie is like, hey, come on, no, be you, be the artist that you are, right?
Yeah.
And this is a thing that's happening at the time where I'm like, oh man, wow, like this is showing me that I got to follow my instincts and follow what I see versus, what history says.
Yeah. And what's so great about those moments is the other backdrop to this is that we had been playing a lot of jazz clubs. I mean, you were in the jazz genre. The agent we had previous to the agent we have now was selling you as that. And so there were not a lot of opportunities for us to get in front of black audiences.
Yes.
Unless it was festivals or these types of things in certain cities. But we were seeking that. We were trying to figure it out. Your art had started to evolve and your music was evolving. And the platform that she gave you, and this is why She Could Do No Wrong in our book, because not only did she give you the support slot, but like you said, she supported you in it. And every night in all of these cities, she would bring you out at the end of her set, and y'all would sing together, and she would, put her stamp of approval on you. And not only you, but a lot of other artists, a lot of other indie artists as well, who she's done this for. It's not just you. She's done this for so many other indie artists.
Yeah. It was, and the way she does it too. I mean, I think about, for Effective Music, I think about when it comes to the fruition of the entire Effective Music birth, right?
Yeah.
She, to me, is a big part of that. Michael Kilgore, who we put out A Man Born Black with Effective Music. That was the first release.
First Grammy-nominated release. Go check that
out.
out.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my first Grammy-nominated production. You know what I mean? Like that record, to me, and then for us to actually have Michael go out on tour with India as well, like, it was like she saw what was being built. You know what I'm saying?
Real.
She saw what was being built.
Yeah, because I remember you did the first leg of, this was the Worthy Tour, everybody. You did like the first leg, and even to make that happen, like, you had some dates we had to move around and cancel, and because you had dates in between, and y'all, let me tell you, it was a sacrifice, but it was a sacrifice and an investment. Because it was not cheap, but it's one that has paid off in so many different types of dividends. But I remember once we finished that leg, we had just finished Michael's project, and it wasn't even out yet. And I was like, Miss Arie, you need to hear this album Jameson just produced for Michael Kilgore. And she's like, all right, send it to me. And she listened to it. See, that's the thing. Like, not like, if she tell you to send something, she is going to listen to it. That's what I really like about her.
Yep.
And then she invited Michael to do the second half of the tour. So, you're right, Jameson, because I had just started Effective Music in 2019.
Yep.
And it was a baby. I did not know what I was doing. I was just doing what I knew to do. And to have somebody of her stature, someone who we all respected, like you said, Acoustic Soul is celebrating 25 years. That is Ready for Love. That is Brown Skin.
Classics.
Just Classics. some of the best Strength, Courage, and Wisdom. Like, y'all. Just shout out to Miss Arie. Thank you for everything you've done for us. Like,
she gets our
thank you for being
award.
you. She does
1000%.
So Jameson, now that we've celebrated all of these women, I think one of the things that we have to make sure we do is to keep women at the forefront. Like I said before, like, keep providing opportunities for them, access points, and one of the ways that I see myself doing so is in both of my companies. I hire a lot of women. I put women in positions to be successful, to be inspired. I remember when we were doing something with Vice President Harris, and she was attending this event that we were producing, and I made it my point to put women in the touch points with her. Anybody that had to brief her, talk to her,
women.
I could have done that as the EP. I could have been like, no, I got it, everybody. But I wanted Vice President Harris at the time to see the black women as she was, moving throughout the event. So, that is one of the ways that I'm going to commit to continuing to show up for black women. They are my service providers, my therapists, and my lawyers. I trust them in that way. And how about you, Jameson? How do black women or women in general show up in your life in the moment?
Well, I'll say this. I got to talk about how black women show up in my life, but I also can talk about ways that I look forward to paying it forward. When it comes to the women that show up in my life, I can just look downstairs in my house, man. Like, I got a beautiful wife of 15 years, going on 16, been together for 17, 18. I got a daughter that's 12 years old. And let me tell you something. The ray of sunshine that they give off in this house,
Yeah.
it is something that I owe them. My time, attention, my heart, my passion. They get it first. And to be honest, I think a lot of my inspiration comes directly from them. If you listen to my albums, you probably hear it, and so when it comes to, the ones who have shaped me right in my own space, 1,000%, it's those two, we can get into moms on Mother's Day and stuff. That's a whole nother conversation about moms. If you can't tell, we mama's boys. Like, if you really can't tell, we are mama's boys. Like, what, So we'll get there. But something I would like to see, too, in the artist space, I would love to see more Black female tour managers. I would love to see more African-American female production, like in the music space. A lot of times those spaces are male dominated, to be honest with you. Yeah. And specifically music, right? And so I've ran across a few Black female TMs and PMs that I believe could really make some waves. And I just want to personally hire Black TM and PM females. Like, I would love, when we get back in touring, to have a whole female staff. Legit.
Okay, I guess I'm fired, but that's okay.
You see? No. You could be. No, but it's something about the attention to detail, man. There's something about the care, There's something about, like, just the passion, like, aware. Like, there's just it's something about it that I love personally, Yeah. And so when it comes to paying it forward, man, that's how I want to pay it forward. And so when my day comes, it's gonna come. And when my day comes, where I get to put that team around me to tour at a high clip, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Well, listen, everybody, this has been this week's episode of The Producer's Desk. Make sure you like, comment. And if you haven't subscribed to us, please just click that little button and subscribe. It helps out the channel. We want to bring you more interesting and helpful content. Let us know what you want to hear about. If there are any stories, if there are any questions that you have, we're happy to talk about it here on the podcast. And we'll be back next week. We're here every Tuesday with a brand new episode. So until then, people.